funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee.
You're listening to Prog.4 of the 5-part series Say Yes to Health and No to Drugs. Throughout our modern Ireland, many people and groups are doing Trojan work to help people recover from addiction, whether it be to drugs, drink or whatever, and live addiction-free lives. One such group is Coolmine Therapeutic community based in North Dublin. To explain what they're all about, here's Pauline McKeown, Chief Executive with Coolmine Therapeutic community.
Coolmine provides a range of outpatient, day programme, community and residential treatment services for very vulnerable and marginalised members of society.
And what's kind of in brief as well as the kind of Coolmine approach to recovery for the people who are coming here, you know?
Sure. Well, look, I guess Coolmine believes that everybody should have the opportunity, number one, to overcome their addiction, but secondly, more importantly, is to lead a very fulfilled and a productive life. And in doing so, long-term recovery can be sustained. How we do that is through a therapeutic community approach. So the clients that come into service with us come in and experience community living, where they are not only responsible for themselves and for the whole running of the community, but they're also supporting peers to change their behaviour. In doing so, it allows them to change behaviour and to lead long-lasting and fulfilled and more productive lives.
So in other words, it's not, no person does it on their own. The healing is in the group. Would I be right? This is a core component of the journey of recovery.
Absolutely. I mean, the core element of Coolmine is the community itself is the method of treatment. And that's very much at the cornerstone of the therapeutic community approach. But I guess what that means and what that translates into is that all of the clients have roles in the community, so they take on responsibility, and that's for all the operations, such as cooking, kitchen, administration, answering phones, community environment, horticulture, recovery through nature. So there's very, very purposeful. And in that collective, for example, in Coolmine Lodge, there's a 34-bed inpatient unit. In our women's residential unit, there's 20 to 24. And in those, it's all those community members play a very, very important role just in the day-to-day running.
And one such community member is Danny from North Dublin.
I'm 29 years of age. I'm currently a resident in Coolmine the last 5 months. I'm a senior peer. My drug of choice would have been cocaine. You know, I didn't really know when things got out of hand. I didn't really want... I never really visualised myself coming to somewhere like this, you know. But I guess making the choice to come into Coolmine was one of the big things that I've done in my life, you know. And it was probably one of the best choices I've made in my life, you know. I really found out who I am.
Why, Danny? Why?
Just because it's one of the hardest steps you're going to take in life is admitting to yourself that you're an addict. Something that I've struggled with, you know what I mean? I've always looked at people and looked down at people and says, I'm not one of them people, but at the end of the day I am. I was just in denial the whole time, you know. As soon as you make the commitment and get involved at Coolmine, the welcome is overwhelming, you know. I'm here 5 months, like as I said, and I've found out so much about myself. Not only did I lose everything in my addiction, but while the time at Coolmine, I've had to get it all back. You know what I mean? In my addiction, I've lost my job, I've lost my apartment, I've lost my kids, I've lost it all, you know. My time at Coolmine, I have all them things back, bar work, you know, but I have the grounds and I have the foundation to go on and do stuff if I need to, you know. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of Coolmine and what it's given me back, you know. This community, the staff here, but they're not the counsellors, they're not anything, they're just facilitators. The real recovery happens with ourselves, you know. There's 30 addicts in here and we help each other by being able to relate to each other, you know. We're a mirror image of each other. And then obviously the departments in this place as well, it's all run by clients, you know. It's not run by staff, it's all run by clients. We are one another's counsellors, we are one another's recovery, you know. That's how it works. The atmosphere, it's very family orientated. As you might hear, we call each other brother. But the reason behind that is because you want to feel a part of. There's people coming here from broken families who never had brothers or sisters or felt a part of, and in here you get that welcoming, a part of family, you know.
I'd say that must be very, very soul nourishing, you know.
Definitely. You know, I remember when I first came in here, it was very daunting. I'm walking into a house full of 30 different personalities, and you know, I've been in prison before and stuff, and obviously you learn to manage with that, but like being in here, it's different than prison. It's harder than prison, and that's being quite honest, you know. Things are being pointed out to you, but obviously when you first come in, the welcome you get, you know what I mean, you're in orientation for the first couple of weeks, people are really, really looking out for you and making you feel like the most important person in the house, and that's one of the big things that works in here. While in orientation, you are the most important person in the house.
And also there's the buddy system as well, kind of the big brother, I think you call it. How does that work now, Dan?
So obviously when you first come in, like when I first came in, I was in orientation for 6 weeks, and obviously you can't just throw yourself in and listen, you're expected to know everything, so you're given a big brother. I was given a big brother in here for 6 weeks, and that big brother does everything for you. He gets your bed clothing, he does your washing, he goes through the data folder. The data folder is, it's like the ins and outs of the TC workshop, you know, or the TC, and it shows you everything in it and what to do, and they go through it every night with you. They check in with you on a day-to-day basis, you know. It learns you everything that you have to learn about being here. And then also you get the privilege of being a big brother also after that time, you know. So you get to give back your experience. So when somebody new comes in, you're their big brother, you know what I mean? You get to give them what you've learnt, and obviously that progresses, you know. And when you see somebody coming in broken on their knees, and then you're there to help them, and you see after 6 weeks how much they've come along, you do feel very proud, you know what I mean? Just knowing that you've had to help that person.
And I'd say there's a lot of guys, even I was just talking with a few of the guys, and they had gone through the programme, you know, a few years ago even, they graduated and had made a great go of life, you know, and we're coming back. So it's a real kind of, you know, well, look, they've helped me out, I'm going to give my bit back, you know, it's kind of time for me to give back. Would I be right? This is a huge part of the whole recovery. It's not just when you're in here, it's for life.
Yeah, no, listen, that's definitely true. You do have people coming back, and you hear them, I was here 10 years ago and they still want to give back. That's the whole thing, what Coolmine is giving them, you know. I'm here 5 months. When I see new people coming in the door, I'm straight over, I want to help them straight away. It's the whole thing of giving back. But definitely people, it's a lifelong thing, you know what I mean. It is with you on a lifelong basis. You have people coming back here as graduates, having a group, a voluntary graduate group, you know. You can see the impact it has on their lives, and they carry it throughout their day-to-day lives.
Brilliant. And Danny, have you got any advice? There's people who are tuned in now, and they probably either know somebody who's caught up in addiction, or maybe they're in the unfortunate position of being caught up in one themselves. Any advice to anyone out there who's caught in that awful trap of addiction, you know? I mean, any advice from your journey to date? Yeah,
listen, just the only advice I can give you is just put your hand out and ask for help, you know. That's the hardest thing to do, to admit to yourself that you need help. You know what I mean? I was 29 years of age, I was living in my car. 29th birthday, lost everything, you know, and I needed help. I knew I needed help. Don't do it for somebody else, do it for yourself. But definitely put your hand out, get in contact with Anna Liffey, Coolmine, get in contact with everybody, you know. It's never too late, you know what I mean. You have adults coming in here 40, 50 years of age and they're doing it, and it's never too late. You have young people coming in here 19 years of age, they're getting it early. I'd advise anybody who is in addiction, don't be afraid to put your hand out for help, you know what I mean. Definitely not.
Final question, Danny. What's the best thing about recovery from addiction for yourself?
Well, for one thing, you're free from the addiction, you know. I don't have to wake up in the morning with that fear around me, you know. I can get to look into my kids' eyes and they can actually see that I'm really, really there, you know. I'm not just there in body, I'm actually there in full spirit, you know. I'm fully aware of what's going on around me. I'm embracing life as it comes to me, you know. I've done things that I would have never thought I'd done in addiction. I've went sailing, I've went walking, I've swam in the sea, stuff that I've took for granted, you know. I've sat around, I've watched my kids play football, put them to bed at night. These are little things that you take for granted, you know. And being in recovery has given me all this back. I think as well, just the people who you're around, they really, really are such nice people, because they've all been through hell and back, and we can all relate to each other, and just the whole recovery living, it's just so much better than being in addiction.
My name is Niamh McGuinness and I'm the team leader here in Coolmine Lodge.
Niamh, what are the major challenges involved in overcoming addiction? Obviously there's been books written on this and everything, but kind of the 2-minute version, what are the big challenges in either addiction to drugs or alcohol or whatever?
Well, the big challenge is learning to live without substances in your life. It's about learning how to manage emotions, manage everyday life, manage jobs, education, family, all those things, without using drugs or alcohol as a way to cope.
Right, as a crutch, in other words, you can get on without this, chemical substance crutch of whatever type or ilk, and you can get on with living and live life to your full potential.
Yeah, absolutely. Most people either experiment or kind of use recreationally alcohol and sometimes drugs as well at some point in their lives. But for some, it becomes a dominant feature in their lives, and it begins to erode relationships, and you pick up charges, or it doesn't work for you long term. So at some point people say, I need to change my behaviours, I need to learn how to emotionally manage myself, I need to get an education, get a job, get new friends, and that's exactly what we support them to do here through loads of different means. Yes, we have the core therapeutic programme, which consists of group therapy, counselling, key working, but we also have lots of other programmes that run alongside that. So we have a recovery through nature programme that sees the residents giving back to community or conservation projects, sometimes maybe in community gardens or something that's given back to the environment, and they feel good, and then it's therapeutic as well for them. We have assistance dogs in training here as well, which can be therapeutic for the lads, being involved in the training of those puppies to become an assistance dog for a disabled person in the future. We have just finished a stint in Bloom in the Phoenix Park, where the lads were involved in building a garden which is now being dismantled, and it's being rebuilt here on the grounds. They're building a new barbecue. We've got other animals here as well, like chickens and hens and goats and stuff like that, where everything we do has a therapeutic value in it.
So it's a little bit of heaven, kind of, here in a corner of Dublin. It's brilliant, isn't it? And just in the background I can see one of the guys working with a cement mixer, and there's other guys working in polytunnels and everything. So there's a lot of good work going on, yeah?
Yeah, there's loads of activity, and as I said, there's learning in it for everybody. And we have a kitchen department, a horticulture department, environment, laundry, animals. And when somebody comes here, if they've already got skills, say in cooking or baking, then we don't put them in the kitchen. We ask them to go out into the horticulture department, so that they then see where ingredients come from and how they're grown and then used in the kitchen as an ingredient. And then likewise, if somebody had loads of experience in horticulture, we might get them to go into the kitchen, and you get the
genuinely developing as a person, that life skills, that you're not just sticking to the same old avenue, that you're learning new skills and you're becoming a better person.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about becoming the best version of yourself. We talk about change, and it's a behavioural change programme, but we always say to the residents that it's not about changing who you are in the core, it's about becoming the best possible version of yourself. And we support them to do that for a period of time during their residential programme and their step down integration process, and then an aftercare programme as well. And the whole aim is that then they become completely independent and then don't need to be relying on services and counsellors and key workers for support, that they can become independent and do it for themselves and for their families.
And probably they'll be the ones who'll go out, be a beacon onto the world without waxing lyrical, and help somebody that crosses their path, maybe that has been in a similar situation to them, when they were down in their luck, so to speak. Would I be right?
Role modelling is something that we talk about a huge amount in Coolmine Lodge. So the minute somebody new comes in to Coolmine Lodge, they actually get assigned a big brother, and the big brother is somebody who's been here for longer and has developed some of the skills that people develop while they're here, and they take on a little brother as a way of developing their own role modelling skills and to develop their sense of responsibility in relation to role modelling, that they can be, as you say, a beacon for somebody else. They can guide somebody else, and through that process actually build up their own self-esteem and their own self-worth, that they can actually do a lot of good for other people. And that continues throughout their entire programme, right through to becoming a graduate of Coolmine. We have graduates here on a nearly daily basis that come back to Coolmine Lodge just to give back, just to role model to the newer residents that are here. They get them involved in football tournaments, five-a-sides. They might bring them to fellowship meetings.
And after interviewing Coolmine team leader Niamh McGuinness, I next got talking with a certain Coolmine graduate. Here he is to introduce himself.
I'm Dave. I'm from Blanchardstown originally, and from the north side all my life.
David, tell us a bit about your journey of recovery from dark to light.
Right, well look, I'll just start there with the basics. Everyone that told me how addiction starts, it really started. I started off obviously with a few mates smoking weed, and progressively it went on, and mine went on a bit further, and things happened. I ended up most of my life in prison, and I eventually got to the streets where everyone said it ended up, and things were really bad. I came to Coolmine 5 years ago. My head wasn't in the right place. I basically was a get out of jail free card at the time, hoping I'd get clean along the way, but my head, I knew nothing about it. I thought I knew best, and I knew nothing. Do you know what I mean? I didn't listen, which led me back into a worse part of addiction. I went back out doing things I never thought I experienced, the streets, and really went low. And I ended up back in Mountjoy again, where I spent nearly all my 20s, and I just, enough was enough. I was after losing my stepdad, and things were going bad to my family, and I said I need to go back to Coolmine, because I took a bit out of Coolmine. I met some good people. Even though I didn't stay, I still met some good people who are still doing good now. So I came back the 17th of May last year, and I really just said, what have I to lose? I'm going to go. Now, when I came back in, I still had my issues and behaviours, and I found it hard to listen, found it hard to sit around, because I'm hyper as it is. And I ended up, we went sailing, we went on a voyage last year around September, and it made me just look at things in a completely different light. I said, it was just, we sailed the country, and I just said, you know what, this is the life I want. This is something I never experienced.
And David had this to say about how he got involved in that sailing voyage adventure in the first place.
Right, I remember I was just over in the laundry, and I heard a few lads saying that Paul Hatton is looking for a few lads to go sailing, so I wasn't too sure what it was about. So I remember running over and asked, could I go on that? Yeah, he said there was 2 spaces left, so I went. It ended up being a voyage from Dunmore East to Dublin, and from Dublin to Kinsale, and it was just an experience. We went there, we had, the first one was just calm water. It was like being in the Caribbean, the sun flowing down. We were cooking dinners on with dolphins coming up along, so it was just an experience. I can't even describe it unless you were on it. And on the second journey, it was like something out of Deadliest Catch, because the weather was so bad. The waves were coming up over the boats were going up into the air. You could see the bottom fin on the boats, they were going that high up, and it was completely different, but it was just another experience. I can't really explain how good it was unless you're kind of on it. That's why different lads have been going on it throughout the year, but it was just unreal. It was just, that's what changed my frame of mind, to think how different life could be, and to get a better buzz than any drug could ever give you doing stuff like that, you know.
And kind of there's that, a natural adrenaline high, that you're there, you're on the boat, the waves are coming helter skelter, and you're holy crikey, hold on, but loving it.
It's like a roller coaster that you could actually fall off. That's the reality of you could, but it was just unreal, and then it was just manic with the weather bad. Everyone's holding on the waves, the boats are toppling. But then there's the other side of the coin. Then with the good weather we had, there's not a wave at sea. It's just flat, and the boats just cruising. We're all relaxed and sunbathing on a yacht, and pulling them in together and tying them and jumping into the sea and swimming and cooking dinner. Some of them cooking dinner at the same time, and the rest are swimming around the yachts. It was just unreal. It's even when I'm saying it now, I'm getting goosebumps listening to where we were at doing it, and the kind of buzz we got off that. Sleeping on the boats we pulled into. I think it was actually Wexford Harbour we pulled into, and all the lights around, and we were coming in. You could just see little tiny lights for miles out, and we just pulled the yachts in tight together and went to sleep on it next morning, then took off, and just an experience. It didn't even feel like we were around Ireland. It felt we were just, I don't know where it felt we were at, but it didn't feel. It felt we just lost out at sea. We were just out at sea for days, In the last year since I came here, I'm currently nearly finished the programme. At the end of phase 3, I'll be graduating in September, but I'm after finishing my first year of college. I'm going into my second year in level 7 now in September. I host 2 different radio shows, 2 different sports shows, the one called The Final Whistle and another one called Fever Pitch, which is actually up for a nomination tonight in the Driocht. I've completed a cert in sailing, level 1 sailing. I've done 2 voyages. I have my whole family back. I have my own place. I haven't in Peter McFerry's run. I actually have my own place with HAP. I share with 2 graduates from Coolmine. I have my family. And the list goes on. We train with the lads here a couple of days a week. We play football on a Saturday. We do a lot of football in our own time. And look, right now there's actually a lot of good going on in my life. A lot of things have changed. My whole life has changed. You know, I'm over a year clean. And Coolmine have given me back a life beyond what I could expect. I just wanted to be clean and live a normal life like anyone else.
And here's another person I met recently at the Coolmine Therapeutic Community Centre in North Dublin.
I'm Nadia. I came from a family where it was very difficult growing up. My mother was Irish, my dad was a Muslim, so things was always very strict in my household. And I suppose I always kind of felt really lost from a young age. Didn't really know where to fit in. You know, it was just really, really difficult for me. Along the journey then, where I would have probably really went wrong was a bad relationship. I had a brother, and my brother was killed in 2011. And I suppose I started searching for something just to take away that pain. You know, and I stayed in addiction. I did for I think 7 years, and I just couldn't seem to get it. I suppose I really felt that I would have been stuck there for the rest of my life. You know, I have 2 young children, and I suppose they kind of gave me the strength to say that I really needed to give this up. You know, I needed to be a role model to my kids, and I'm a single parent as well. You know, so I suppose they would have been my motivation to get better. Seeing my family falling apart, you know, and I just wanted to make a difference in my family, to be the one that could stand up, and probably the rest of my family could follow then, because I have other family members in addiction. So I came to Coolmine 4 months ago. How I got there was I have an uncle that's in recovery. He's been in recovery 15 years. He explained a bit about the programme to me, and I just felt that for once in my life that I had a bit of hope. You know, I was in pre-entries for a very long time. Trying to get a day clean was really, really difficult for me. And I finally got it. My parents kind of stepped in and they said that they'd help me every step of the way. So yeah, I've been there 4 months. And you know what, for once in my life I kind of feel alive again. I feel alive. You're kind of in this dark place where you just think there's no hope, and Coolmine has given me the hope, and it's just given me a hope in the future again, you know. I've got a relationship back with my kids, relationship back with my family, you know. Hopes and dreams that I dreamt of, things that I wanted to do where I felt lost years ago that I couldn't do, you know. I have the hope inside me to think that I can do these things, you know. It's given me confidence again. It's just learning me a new way of life. Coolmine has, even the programme itself, the way the programme is ran. In addiction, we kind of have all of these bad behaviours that we don't really realise that we have, you know, and our behaviours are being pointed out to us all the time. So you're kind of learning, and it's hard to sit with the feelings, because in life we're going to get told no. So it's sitting with them feelings that you get, like, you know, and I suppose they're things that you're going to carry with you outside. You know, I feel really, really strong in myself. Since being there, I've went and auditioned for an X Factor, something that I never thought that I could even do. You know, and that's been a dream of mine. I love music. Music is kind of like a coping mechanism for me. And I suppose it's just pushing me to follow my dreams in there. You know, I just hope to be a good mother when I leave there. Just the simple things in life, to have my own little home. Just having family back in my life again, you know. So that's
you don't have a crutch, like, you know, a chemical substance of whatever, you know, type, you know, that you can do it on your own terms and reach your potential. Yeah.
And I suppose as well, like, I was obviously on methadone, you know, and being on them kind of substances, you have doctors and people telling you that you'll never come off something like that, you know. To be able to wake up every morning being free of taking a drug or being free from taking methadone, there's just nothing like it. I can't explain. There's just nothing like it. It's freedom, you know. And for anybody out there that is struggling, there is hope, and there's always light at the end of the tunnel, you know. I believe if you really, really want something, that you can really get it if you just try grab it with both hands and do the right things that's suggested to you to do.
And Nadia, also as well, what's the daily routine, Nadia? From the time you get up to the morning to the time you put the head down to rest at night time, what's the normal daily routine here in Coolmine?
So the daily routine would be, wake up call is at 7 o'clock. You have to be then on the floor then for 8 o'clock. We would have breakfast and then we all pull together and we all do our cleaning jobs. At 9 o'clock we all go into a group and it's called Morning Focus. So Morning Focus is where we all stand together and we'll all read the philosophy that's on the wall and there. And then we also so each individual has a special job in the house and we have to read out the structure of what that job is for the day. And then we give strokes. So strokes is we're all sitting around in a circle, and if you feel somebody has been doing well, you'll get up and you'll give them a hug and people will clap. So it's just kind of giving people push-ups for the good work that they're actually doing. And it's being noticed by us, True Love and Concern. We'll come out of Morning Focus at 9:30 and then we will do like cleaning jobs in the house. So each person will be on a different cleaning job. At 11:15 we do snacks then. Then everybody can go for a cigarette break. At 11:15 then we all go into a group. So your group could be either on a Monday, it could be concerns. Maybe it's an open group. So when people have stuff going on for them, we sit in an open group and the group is open for anybody to talk about the stuff that's going on. And that's where people can kind of relate to other people or, you know. At 1 o'clock then we go down and we have lunch in the house. And then at 2:15 we go into another group again. Now there's like, we do PUP in Coolmine as well. PUP is kind of teaching you how to interact with your child. Just learning you how to be a mother again, you know, like showing you the way. And then we will have dinner then at 5 o'clock then in the evening. And then after that, it's just kind of like relaxing time. Mothers will have their kids. Now the sit room can be a little bit chaos at times, but it's great. We're like one big happy family there, like, you know. And then we have phone calls in the evening and then it's bedtime then at 9:30. So,
right, so early morning and early to bed, but it's a good active day with all the different activities that make up the day. But I'd say soul nourishing as well. I'd say you're learning a new way of life, yeah?
Yeah, no, definitely, it really is a new way of life. And it's mad because, look, you're going to come into a programme with so many girls in there and it's very hard living with all the days women. But True Love and Concern, we actually really are like one big family. Girls are coming in there with kids that are only born, like, you know, and you end up coming really, really attached to these kids as well, like, and it's just like a family. Sometimes when you're out, you can't wait to come back and you actually start calling it home.
For yourself, Nadia, what's the best thing about recovery from addiction?
The best thing for me, waking up and feeling alive again, feeling alive inside, just not feeling that depression anymore. That depression where you feel there's no hope. And the biggest thing for me is to have hope again. To have hope and to believe that I can do anything that I really put my mind to. You know, and I really believe that addiction will only take a hold of you if you let it. And I believe everybody out there has the fight in them to like overcome addiction. I'm just really grateful. I have so much gratitude today for sitting here and being clean. You know, I just think it's amazing. I think Coolmine is an amazing programme.
Funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee.